Hello again, YouTube. I wanted to take this opportunity to give a belated congratulations to the Supreme Court of Iowa for their decision to overturn the ban on same-sex marriage in that state. To me, this seems to be another event in a shift in the dynamic that has ruled marriage legislation. Growing up, I really always believed that if same-sex marriage would ever be legalized, it would have to be done federally. Uh, the first event that gave me hope that this wasn't true occurred last year in my home state of California, where we know a similar Supreme Court decision occurred to that in Iowa. As we also know, though, good old Prop 8 came around and saw that that shift was immediately repressed. But the Supreme Court ruling does continue to have effects, as can be seen in Iowa. The peculiar thing about Iowa is the demographics. Iowa is rather conservative, and California tends to be more liberal. The Supreme Court of California also voted 5-4 in favor of overturning the ban on gay marriage. In more conservative Iowa, the decision was unanimous, showing that the issue may be finally beginning to transcend partisan boundaries. I don't really know much about the Supreme Court of Iowa, but I can assume the justices there reflect this sort of conservatism that is sort of maybe stereotypically associated with the state. The real radical thing about the Iowa decision is that it directly appeals to equality. It goes beyond partisan boundaries and religious boundaries, which don't we have a separation of church and state, at least theoretically in this country anyways, but that can come at another time. And this decision really appeals to equality under the law directly. I don't really see how it can be disputed. It doesn't really force anyone to do anything. It specifically allows churches to choose who they will marry based on their own discretion. Of course, like what happened in California, attempts are being made in Iowa to bring same-sex marriage rights to popular vote. I would call this mob rule. The ability of the majority to legislate against a minority, an aspect of democracy that our system really intrinsically was set up to, at least in some capacity, prevent. It was really just made after Prop 8 passed, when a member of the California Supreme Court, who was one of the 5 to vote to overturn the ban on same-sex marriage originally, essentially said that he would not fight Prop 8 because our system was created to permit the majority to legislate against the minority, and that had to be upheld. That's not a direct quote, but that's pretty much paraphrasing what he said. And in response to that, I would just like to add a few quotes from the founding fathers, who are often abstracted and made to assert things that they never actually said, but I'll just give 2 quotes that they actually did say. James Madison said, "It is of great importance in a republic not only to guard the society against the oppression of its rulers, but to guard one part of the society against the injustice of the other part." Thomas Jefferson said, "All too will bear in mind this sacred principle, that though the will of the majority is in all cases to prevail, that will to be rightful must be reasonable, that the minority possess their equal rights, which equal law must protect, and to violate would be oppression." To conclude, I'd just like to note that I see a sort of hypocrisy involved in the belief that the people should be allowed to vote for this specific issue. American citizens are really more than glad to hand over their right to vote on most issues to representatives. Representatives who really often don't directly represent many of their constituents. But when a matter of equal protection is rightfully enforced by legal institutions, notably Supreme Courts, which have the authority to interpret and enforce the Constitution, the majority complains mostly based on religious beliefs, in a society that, as I said before, is at least theoretically supposed to have a definitive separation of church and state. And that's really all I had to say on the issue. Well, I have a lot more to say on the issue, but that's all I really wanted to say in this video. So thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed or didn't enjoy, have any complaints or anything, or praise, I like praise, go ahead and comment me. Thank you.